and the Connecticut 2nd District Tea Party Patriots. Add your voice to ours, for then we the people will become stronger. We the people will be the force that will bring our country back to its prosperity, back to its promise, back to its roots. But most importantly, to bring our government back to the functions that they're supposed to do within the confines of the Constitution, not what they determine is constitutional. In a few minutes, you'll hear from each of the candidates who were able to attend. Please listen to what they have to say. After this is over, ask your questions. But don't stop there. Research the candidates. You can go to our website, and as we have information, we will be putting it up there for you. Form your own opinions. We're not here to pick or choose for you. What we are doing is just trying to provide the opportunity and the information for you to be able to come to the best decision for yourself. One thing we all know we have to do is change the representation we have now at the state and the federal level. They aren't listening to us. They misstate what they're doing. They horse trade their votes, and they have compromised our country, the value and strength of our dollar, and our Constitution. Those issues are what we need to make sure that these candidates here understand is totally unacceptable. We need to impress upon those who choose to step up to the plate that before any new legislation, the old ways be rebuked, the old laws be repealed, the unconstitutional laws be repealed, the pork, the stimulus, and the bailouts be defunded. They need to understand that the revenues collected through taxation are not theirs to spend. That's our money. Those dollars belong to the people to do the work of the people, not the buying of favors and votes. Those days are gone. We must impress upon future candidates that we demand that they represent us, that they do their job according to what the Constitution says, not party leaders and definitely not special interest groups. For if they don't, when their term is up, we will vote them out too. I'd like to thank you all for participating tonight, and I hope that you will continue to stay involved. And I want to leave you with a quote that I have on my email to everybody every single week. And please think about what it says, and then if you haven't been involved, please make a decision on the quote. It's from President Ronald Reagan. If not you, then who? And if not now, then when? God bless you all. Thank you.
We'll start with the U.S. Senate candidates. Their opening statement. Vincent Forras.
This is pretty new news here, the Republican thing. I mean, we did this with a magic marker. Some of you guys may remember, first I was a volunteer firefighter, answered the call on 9/11 at Ground Zero, and I'm the father of a serving U.S. Marine. So I'm so proud to be standing here today with you, and I thank God for the ability to be here. I'm going to guess that there's a couple of veterans in this audience, right? Maybe a couple. I want to have everyone thank you all for keeping America safe. And to me, that's the backbone of America, and in many ways, this Tea Party movement reminds me so much of our military answering the call, and our firemen and our police doing the right thing. It was the Tea Party that actually sort of introduced me to politics, and it's because of my speech down in Morristown, New Jersey at the Tea Party down there that I was able to get my start. And so it inspired everyday Americans to do extraordinary things. So be careful what you wish for, because you got a guy like me running for the U.S. Senate just because of the Tea Party. And this group, it's not if you guys are going to make a difference. It is you all have already made a tremendous difference. And I think history is going to judge in the future that it's the most important movement of my lifetime to start to take back our country and to rescue us. He's right, 40 years of our country trading off our values. I mean, that's one of my things, that each time you trade off on a value over 40 years, that trade-off brings us lower and lower down. And that's not what we're about. So for me to answer this call is as much of an emergency as it was on 9/11, and maybe even more. We have to stop the madness now. I refer to this almost like the twilight zone that we're living in here. And what's up is down and right is left. I mean, I just can't even believe it. And it took the Tea Party and movements like the guys over at Freedom Works and Right Principles and so many other 9/12. I spoke in front of 1.5 million people in Washington. Some of you guys were there. And I was amazed to understand that it really wasn't 1.5 million people. It was like 20,000. I didn't realize that 20,000 all the way to the Washington Monument, but it was spread out. But let me tell you, that made a big difference. I've been to Washington many times since, with the health care bill and such, and they always hear from this guy with this accent. Remember, I left a day ago to get here from, down in my side of the state. But if you can tell, my accent has a little bit of New York Queens accent in it. So if I ask for a cup of coffee, it's coffee. All right. So I know the time is short here, and I know these guys have a lot to say, but, this is the most important election of my lifetime. I was inspired by Ronald Reagan when my son was born. And if we do things with his leadership and his quotes, which I have a few of them here, and I love all these Reaganisms, we can't do too wrong. The most important thing is that we support each other, and originally running as an independent, believing that that was the way to go. I'm a conservative, my values have been straightforward, although I've been a lifelong registered Republican. And I thought this was the way to go. And then understanding what the Tea Party and these other organizations are looking for the Republicans not to be split up, and for us to try to do our best to win this race. I'm willing to be a team player, let's see what happens. But I wanted to read something real quick, and I hardly ever read. I never write a speech. This is from a friend of mine. I get a lot of emails from all over the country, and this was a dear friend, and I received this message, and he's asking me to keep certain things in mind when I run, and this is what he writes. He says, "Good luck with the Republicans. I have one request. Let them know you are the perfect new Republican candidate. Born of the Tea Party, branded with conservative values, not a country club member." I never was in a country club. I wore a blue collar as a volunteer firefighter who answered the call on 9/11. I live in a culturally diverse family. Father, a U.S. Marine, headed a business internationally with a heart in education. I graduated as a teacher. A citizen politician who again is answering the call to do the right thing. That you are not there for an annuity or to live off the taxes of others. Not for the bennies, not for the perks, but to soldier up the same kind of courage that it took to run into the machine gun fire at Omaha Beach, or fight the world's best army at Lexington or Concord, or draw fire as a point man in Fallujah. That even a scintilla of that kind of courage is all it takes to say no to expanded government, say no to spending money long ago gone, stand in opposition to the national suicide pact that is called political correctness. To have that character to turn down the highest bidder, and never forget you are sworn to support and defend the Constitution, not the Republican Party, and not your own interests. That at all times your concern will always be Connecticut first and America always. Tell them that for me. This is something that hit me so deeply. It was so important for me to relay for you tonight, because no matter who's going to represent you guys, I think this is going to be what's going to be most important. Give me 10 seconds. Count it up. A nation that produces nothing is nothing. That's my thought. And you know what? I am pro-choice. But my choice is for life. That's my choice. And anyone who has to make a choice in life as a fireman, that's where I have to go. I don't judge anyone for their choices, but that's what I am. And remember, for me, if I ever say or do anything, and that's my promise here, that's considered politically correct, it's completely by accident. And that's my swear to you and my solemn oath. God bless you.